All right, Matt, we're back again. I don't know. We're at the point with the Cowboys now. I mean, season was already kind of over, but after tonight's game, I think we can officially declare the Cowboys are dead. Um, I mean, honestly, just looking at the standings, right? They are, I can't believe they are the 15th out of 16 ranked teams in the NFC. After what are we at week
Week
11? After
11.
week 11, so the only team you guys are ahead of are the New York Giants, who have now benched Daniel Jones.
Hey, that's
Uh,
why Thanksgiving is a big game, man.
yeah, it's the tank off, I guess. So anyway, yeah, not so good. I don't even know their percentage must be like one, like at 2% or something to make the playoffs. Like even if they
Oh,
somehow
that's
win,
being generous.
I
Like,
mean, like okay, genuinely, even if they were to somehow win out, if by some miracle, which is a miracle of all miracles, and they get to let's say 10-7, the Commanders are the 7 seed right now, sitting at 7-4, so they need a pretty bad end of the season to not make the playoffs. Because I think, do they? Did you guys play it?
they play next. That's
So
the
that
next game.
okay. So I guess that's your literally only hope. But I think they're effectively dead. So I don't know. After tonight's game, I think we were hoping for some Cooper Rush and CD Magic maybe. I don't know what's going on, but I already have the title ready for this week's episode. It's like too easy. It's like Jerry's house is falling down, literally, because stadium collapsing and stuff. So it's gonna be something about that. Like
Wow, that
I
is a
haven't worded it
banger.
out yet. I haven't worded it out yet, but I was like, oh, it's too easy. So something like that. That's what this title is gonna be. But I mean, that kind of just sums up the entire year for the Cowboys thus far. I'll let you get into it, but I just wanted to get my quick take off first. I mean, going from the off season, right, where we're waiting and wait, who are they going to sign? Who's it going to be? Not really any big moves. I think the running back position was the one we were kind of looking at, like, hey, what are we going to do? Because it's not going to be Pollard. Okay, we're going to bring Dowdle back, and we're going to sign Zeke. Okay, I know they were linked with Derrick Henry a lot this offseason. Jerry didn't want to pay him. And now here we are 11 weeks in. You see the kind of season Derrick Henry's had with the Ravens.
Hey, but Jerry said
And
he doesn't fit the system. He didn't fit
okay,
the
well,
system.
whatever. Um, I still think just from the offseason, all the talk, at least they bring CD in, right? Dak is they wait, you guys re-signed him, right? To the highest paid
Yep.
contract.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Dak
And he
resets the
has a
market.
season-ending injury.
Exactly. So as the season goes on, it's back to the bad Cowboys defense, first of all. But the part unlike what was that, 2022 or 21, is that the offense can't keep up with the poor defense this time.
Mhm.
So things just start spiraling out of control. And coming into Monday night's game, it's just like you guys are limping just to get through the season. Dak out for the year. CD was hurt today. And your stadium is literally falling apart. I mean, they opened the roof. What did they say? They opened the roof for the first time
First time in 2 years,
in two
which is
years, which is
ridiculous.
that's crazy to me, first of all. Um, because isn't that the whole point of having a retractable, stadium so you
Yeah.
can open it up and
If there's bad
let some
weather,
fresh
close the
air?
roof. If there's good weather, leave it open. It's not that hard.
Yeah, and so we opened it for Monday night. Metal chunks. Thankfully, no one got hurt. I mean,
No,
but
someone almost got hit.
yeah, I
Like,
saw the
could have
video.
died, honestly.
Luckily, it wasn't like a heavy piece. It was like kind of like a piece of sheet metal, right? That like
Yeah, but that's falling down
floated
fast,
down.
though.
Yeah. I mean, still terrible. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like, man, if that doesn't sum up this 2024-25 Cowboys season, I don't know. But now that you've had some time, Matt, I know you already have kind of given up on the season. Now you're just kind of watching just because you're a good, loyal Cowboys fan. I don't think you're expecting anything. Nonetheless, you know, it wasn't a good score, but the weird thing is you guys were in the game today for the most part. But just couldn't just couldn't string enough plays together, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we're very undermanned, and I wasn't necessarily like we suck. We suck. We're not going anywhere, so I'm not high or low like emotion wise. Like I'm just watching the game. I hope they do well, but I know what's gonna happen, at the end of the season. We're not going anywhere. But I was actually pleasantly surprised that, they got punched in the mouth. They're down 14-0. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we might to another Detroit Lions, Saints game, Ravens first half. Like I was thinking it was gonna be that kind of day.
Hmm.
But I do have to give them credit. I mean, for the talent, I should say lack of talent that we had, they were in the game. They were in the game to the fourth quarter, and then that wonky, double fumble, which kind of sums up, the season. But up to that point, they're in the game, right? Cooper Rush throws an absolute dime to Turpin. I don't know why we don't see more of that, meaning Turpin. Like, I already know what Cooper Rush can do, but Turpin, probably the fastest guy in your team, kind of the same thing with, the Tylen Hines syndrome. It's like just he's not a wide receiver. He's not going to be catching go routes all the time, but the jet sweeps, quick passes, quick slants like that. Let him try to outrun the defense. Like, gotta use your playmakers when you can. So I really wanted to see more of that throughout his Cowboy career, but that's what he can do. He's capable of, breaking a big play open. But once they got that, the offense, I don't want to say it was clicking, but they were they're all right. CD actually had a pretty decent game, I gotta say. The tight ends played okay as well with Ferguson going out. So the injuries just keep piling on. Ferguson has a concussion. Zach Martin got nicked up late in the game. Tyler Smith got nicked up. Tyler Guyton got. I mean, it's just like, oh my gosh, like we're gonna literally be playing with a preseason roster at this point soon. So really not much to say, but I was just pleasantly surprised that they were actually in the game. And kind of, what sums up the season is Brandon Aubrey, our best player, misses a field goal. Like a 40-yard kick is routine for this guy, but he's kind of slipped. And I was like, oh, well, there goes our real shot of coming back, because they left, in a sense, 6 points on the board because they missed that chip shot. And
Hmm.
then Aubrey comes back next drive, drills a 64-yarder, but there's a
64.
penalty on the Texans. They take the penalty. In hindsight, I kind of,
I liked it.
I like that. Yeah, I
You
wasn't
gotta go
mad
for
at McCarthy. Like, you have nothing to lose. Like, just
yeah.
go for it. But, and looking back, it's like, man, we had 3 points on the board. We took it off the board, and then we get stuffed on down. So,
Oh
like,
God.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that maybe the third down or the fourth down was like 4th and 2. I was like, I wonder if you kick it here. But then I was like, we're 3-6. F it. We ball.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it was yeah. I mean, I really don't have. It's hard to critique this, and I really don't know what to do. This is a new place for us on this podcast, because ever since we've been doing it, I think they've been 12-5, right? This is season
Or at
4.
least, yeah, at least
So the
competitive.
past 3 seasons, they were 12-5, and they're in the playoffs, win the division 2 out of 3 years. So this is like season recap in week 12 or 11. So there's really nothing that can fix this team at this point. It's really about now. I kind of hope they tank. Honestly, I hope they play well, but I hope they tank. Like I feel bad for the players because I know it's not like they're quitting on the team. Like they're not giving up. We're just not physically equipped right now. From upstairs, especially upstairs, not just the head coach, even more upstairs. I can keep going on, but it starts from there, and then obviously injuries play a big part too. So I hope we lose, but I will say Thanksgiving is going to be interesting because as bad as we are, as bad as the Cowboys, they can lose every game. But if you lose to the Giants on Thanksgiving and Daniel Jones isn't the quarterback, that is just that might be like, yeah, I don't know. That's the one game I hope like so, okay, part of me says I really hope we lose like 40-0. Like Tommy DeVito or whoever is a starter just goes berserk and like Trey Lance is starting or something. He does terrible. And then the fans get all pissed off, so they start throwing like their beers at Jerry's press box. Like that would be my greatest Thanksgiving gift, I think. Not necessarily a Cowboys win because that would ruin our draft stock, but if the
Mm.
fans would retaliate, not like maliciously, but it's like chuck a beer up there, empty cup, or throw your soda to Jerry or something. Throw some fries. I don't know, like nothing to hurt the guy, but it's like we want to see chaos in the sense of like this is what you literally did to the millions of Cowboy fans around the world. And now you have to watch your team get embarrassed on the national stage on your holiday in the prime time slot, and you lose to your division rival who is probably worse than you. Like that would be probably the greatest thing ever. And I don't even think that would change anything. So it would just give me a good laugh. But this team's cooked. This team
Yeah,
is absolutely cooked.
you talk about injuries, and I was kind of following the game tonight, but your offensive line was already not performing up to the standard that we're used to it being at. And then Zach Martin goes down, and then you lose Tyler Smith on the same drive. And I'm just like, they already can't run the ball with those guys playing. So, I mean,
Yeah, our
Cooper
two
Rush,
Pro Bowlers.
hey, I know you love Cooper Rush, but if Cooper Rush is going to throw the ball 55 times, I mean, good luck, you know? They try to fake punt, that didn't work, like you said. Aubrey slips. Like it's just a comedy.
The
The
double
double
fumble
fumble,
return.
yeah, it's just like a comedy of uh yeah, errors. All kind of encapsulates this Cowboy season. And even today, like I know CD was kind of hurt, but it just seemed like he wasn't into it. He's like jogging to get set on the line. I know they caught him once for not being set, but kind of just noticed he's like, jogging out there. And if he's not involved in the play, he's just running a whatever route. Even on the pick, he gets bumped and then kind of stops. And then it's like, look, so it's like,
That's
I
the
mean, I don't,
culture that's created though. When things aren't going well, it's like, our leaders
yeah.
aren't gonna step up. And he's
He,
supposed to be one of our leaders.
yeah, he still made, a couple nice plays, I thought, but I just think, yeah, when you see that kind of attitude from one of your stars, it's just kind of hard for me to watch. Uh, I think one of our favorite players, Matt, you know, um, at the wide receiver position at least, perfect wide receiver, Julio Jones, who just like it's like day in, day out, he's gonna show up, no attitude, no drama, gonna give it his all. His quarterback throws a pick, he's gonna go hawk down the guy or like make a
Hmm.
big hit or something. You know what I mean? And the Falcons weren't always good, but you just never heard anything come out of Julio. But albeit Julio's kind of a rare breed of a true top receiver in the league that isn't a diva. And I don't know. Like I said, fantasy wise, I want my receivers to be divas because I want them
Yeah,
complaining that
they
they're
want the
not
ball.
getting the ball. Exactly. So it's like a double-edged sword, right? But yeah, just when I saw that, I was like, oh man, they are completely out of it. Like they don't care. Um, I'm
You
sure a
know
lot of
what
guys
was
at this point
actually
are
like,
playing.
well, what would have been perfect was the first play of the game. Nico Collins took a screen to the house, but there was a penalty. It was illegal, or Tunsil was too far downfield
Mhm.
because it was like a RPO, I think. I was like, oh my gosh. I actually started laughing. So I was like, there's no way.
It's just like too. It was too good to be true.
Yep.
Um,
That's how you know it's down bad. Because normally I'm the one that's like pissed off when I see bad things, but I laugh now. It's like I laughed when I saw the double fumble. It was just it's like what the heck just did I just watch?
and it's funny, Matt. We're already talking about the draft and looking ahead to next season,
Yeah,
but
I'm excited for the draft now.
but I'm just. I mean, it's funny. I see on this stat sheet, Jonathan Mingo, no catches on 4 targets. I don't even remember. Did we talk about him last week? I don't even remember if we brought him up last week, but
I feel like we did like a little bit. Cause no,
probably.
you did. Cause then you were throwing a jab at the Cowboys. You're like, oh
Oh
well,
yeah,
DeAndre Hopkins gets traded. He plays that week, or Mike Williams gets traded that week. He plays. Devontae, same thing, and then Jonathan Mingo, inactive, healthy scratch.
but I'm just like, you guys gave up a fourth round pick
Yeah, and
to
the
get
Chiefs
Jonathan
got
Mingo, who is but doesn't that tell me you're going for it, or you just think you're trying to get him for next year? I don't
no,
even.
but that's so stupid. Like that's
Whatever.
Jerry's way of saying, "Hey guys, it's the trade deadline. We're still all in at this time. We have a chance to do something. Let me show you what we can do. We're gonna acquire a receiver to make our team better." That's exactly the reasoning. It's for Jerry's public view to be like, "Hey, look, I tried to help you guys. Look, I did something. Now go do it now." Yeah, no one's
Yeah.
taking the bait, Jerry. Like you gave up,
I
okay,
just,
maybe a seventh, but DeAndre Hopkins gets traded to the Chiefs for a fifth round pick. What? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
yeah. Anyway, I just feel kind of bad talking about the Cowboys already because
Yeah,
like I don't even know what else there's to say.
there really
So
isn't anything to say. I'm looking forward to the Thanksgiving game though. The Thanksgiving game is the key one for me because that's the day I need the fans to riot, not
okay.
destroy the stadium. Chuck a draft beer at the Jones press box. That's it.
Well, you can also jump on to my side, which has a little bit of hope, and cheer for an underdog the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, I'm not a bandwagon guy.
but I mean, the Dolphins, it wouldn't even be considered bandwagon at this point. Um,
I'm a Cowboys fan for life. I stick through the shitter, and I'm gonna stay with
oh no,
this
I'm not
team.
saying that, but I mean, at least for the rest of this season, I'll give you a little,
Well, I'll
little
cheer for
Dolphins
Tua.
ticket.
I'll cheer for Tua because
Okay.
he's got my receiver. My fantasy receiver. I'm like Tua. I need you to play well. Keep looking at Tyreek's.
I
You
know, of
know,
course, after I
Tyreek's
trade
guy.
the two receivers, they pop off, of course. Whatever. But yeah, let's talk about the Dolphins because they still actually have hope somehow at this point in the season, which is kind of crazy considering they're sitting at what 4-6 now. But have to say, this past game against the Raiders, okay, it's the Raiders. I'm not gonna not gonna get too crazy. Raiders at home, we better win that game. But I gotta say, honestly, just another one of those games where I thought that the previous game, the Rams game, was probably the most complete complementary football that the Dolphins had played all year, offensively and defensively. And then we get to this week, and the offense looked great. I don't think they punted the whole day. So they didn't punt. You put up 34 points. That's pretty good. Defense, I thought. against the Raiders, who really only have Brock Bowers, and he feasted.
He went off.
I was just kind of like, hey guys, maybe we do something about this tight end because he's kind of destroying us. But also, our secondary is completely depleted right now. We had Storm Duck, your guy out of Oregon, playing, starting at corner for most of the game. Cam Smith, another young guy who's pretty inexperienced, that also had to go. But we're also really banged up. New guy at the helm with David Long. I thought, okay, you know what? If you're gonna have a stinker on defense, or it wasn't even that much of a stinker, but if you're not gonna have your A game on defense, thankfully it's against the Raiders, who we can drop 34 points on. But just talking about the good, I thought Tua looked good. He still the fumbles are an issue, but I think I'd take that risk of him trying to extend plays because he's kind of had to. But he looked much better this year extending plays than he has last year when he had kind of more of that weight to keep him upright. But I'll take a little bit of that risk. I think as long as he learns to, when he's like moving around in the pocket, if he knows he's not going to throw it quick, just kind of tuck it, get into a better position and throw it. Because after the fumble, he actually did that on Tyreek's touchdown. He escaped out to the left, kind of tucked the ball. Then when he sees Tyreek, gets it back in throwing position, able to throw a touchdown. So Top Tua played a really good game. Um, and just offensively, I like what Mike McDaniel has finally kind of figured out to counter how these teams are playing them. So all year, even when Tua was kind of healthy in that Bills game, that first time around, right? They did a really good job of taking away Tyreek and Jalen Waddle over the middle. That's what has been the bread and butter for this team, right? Over the past 2 years, throwing it in between the numbers on these, deep ins, anticipatory throws into the windows, all that good stuff. But teams have kind of figured that out, right? So it's like, okay, how are we going to be able to adjust from there? And honestly, the past 3 weeks, I thought each week has been getting better and better for this Dolphins team. And, credit to Mike McDaniel, who was kind of I don't think he was actually on the hot seat, but for amongst the fans wise, he was considered to be on the hot seat just because well, if you're such a good head coach, why can't we beat the Titans? Okay, true. Why can't we beat the Colts? Okay, I give you that, right? But, to his credit, I think the past 4 weeks, going back to when Tua's come back, offense has looked much better considering teams are taking away those deep bombs to Jalen and Tyreek. So, I mean, just looking back to this past game, Jonnu Smith, who I was really excited about going into the season, finally had his career day. I think he had over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's looked really explosive, especially with the ball in his hands. So being able to utilize some of the other playmakers too have been really nice to see. I know Odell's finally starting to get more integrated into the offense.
Forgot about him.
Yeah, but he's had a couple, pretty big third down catches the past couple of weeks, help move the chains. Seems like he's pretty comfortable in that role. So just really good stuff to see there, and honestly, utilizing Devon Achane out of the backfield as a receiver, getting him out in space. He's just so good with the ball in his hands. The speed is, everyone knows about the speed, but kind of watch how he's able to run even in between the tackles. It's really, fun to see from a Dolphins perspective. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Like I said, we can't look too far down the line. Still got to take care of business. Just looking ahead to New England. I know New England, the record isn't great, but they've been playing teams pretty tough recently. So this is one I'm like, okay, guys, divisional game still, right? Drake May, I think he's been playing better as of late. So like I still think we should win this game, fairly easily by at least 2 scores. But, you know, can't look too far down the line. Like I just don't want us to look ahead to that Thanksgiving game because we need to win this game against the Patriots at home for that Thanksgiving game to even mean something, right? So I'm just hoping, we continue to take care of the football. We continue to stay consistent with the run game. The defense, just I like that we're not giving up the big plays. Um, I Chop Robinson, I think, has been much better for us. Zach Sealer and Calais Campbell have been studs all year. And I think if we're able to just shore up the secondary a little bit, luckily, you know, New England doesn't really have weapons on the outside. Even their tight end position. I mean, Hunter Henry's a good tight end, but I think Brock Bowers, talent wise, is much better with the ball in his hands. So I think number one thing, first of all, we control Ramondre. Don't let him start going crazy in the run game. And then when it gets into these third and longs, hopefully we can pin our ears back, go get Drake May, and yeah, take care of the ball on offense. I think we'll be okay. This is definitely a game we should win. So praying that we're not looking too far past the Patriots and we say, okay, take care of business. After that, okay, yeah, let's start. We got to start going because it's Thanksgiving. And we're at Lambeau. So it's like, ooh, really short turnaround there.
Hmm.
But, oh,
Well,
yeah, are we?
realistically, how many wins do you think they need? Like going in the what are they 4-6?
So, yeah, let's just project this out. So the good ish thing is that it's not like the AFC, right? I mean, sorry, it's not like the NFC, where, like I mentioned before, Washington is at the 7 seed with 7 wins. Right now, Denver holds a 7 seed with only 6 wins. Problem is, Indy is sitting there in between us and Denver, and Indy has a tiebreaker over us. So that's why I'm like, you know what? Forget all the tie break scenarios and this and that and who we need to lose. Like we still have enough season left where we can say if we just win, we don't need to worry about anyone else. But like you said, Matt, I think the safe number is unfortunately going to be 6. Realistically, maybe 5 will do it. 5 more wins. So if we get to 9-7, I think it's possible, but we need luck.
Five
If
and
we get
two.
to 10 wins, I think we should be pretty good to get into the playoffs. I think but we ideally the Chargers and Baltimore just continue to win and Denver sputters out at the end. I don't trust the Colts. I'm sorry. I know they look good again, or I know Anthony Richardson had a better game against Jets. I'm not buying it. I don't. I think the Colts are going to stay around 500 throughout the whole year, honestly. So I think if we get to
Still
10
nine and
wins,
that's still 8-9, 9-8 though.
yeah, so that's why I'm saying we need to go probably 6-1 the rest of the way. And I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but
6-1.
we will have some reinforcements coming back. So just a quick mini preview um of the remaining schedule. So I said the ideal number is 6 wins, right? With 7 games to go. Um, Patriots, that should be a win, realistically. I'm
I
gonna
would say
say
so.
I'm gonna say even I know it's division games, but the 2 Jets games should be wins. Both, even the one on the road. Because I'm thinking, right, if they continue to struggle, maybe like is it worth playing Aaron Rodgers at that point? Who knows? I don't know. But in my opinion, those two should be wins. The Browns, we got to be able to beat the Browns. Like I know
Now.
Jameis is a wild card, but right, that's a team we're gonna have to beat. So those are the four games that are absolute musts for us to even have a chance, right? Then from there it gets tricky. So it's the Packers, the Texans, and the Niners, who I feel okay about all of them. Like not like they're all winnable games. Like it's not we're playing the Chiefs. We're not playing Buffalo. We're not playing, you know, even like Pittsburgh or something like that. Where I'd be like, we're probably not winning those games. But with it being, let's start with the Packers. So the Packers, I know
Cold weather.
yeah, cold weather, but like even after this Bears game, there's just something I'm not convinced. I know they have 7 wins, but I'm just there's something there I'm not completely sold in just yet with that team. I don't know what I really like Josh Jacobs. I think Jordan Love is getting better every week, but I just still think that there's something about that Packers offense sometimes that seems disjointed. That's just me. But I honestly think that one is going to be the loss. I think Thanksgiving Day is going to be the loss. So that leaves the Texans and the Niners. Um, the Texans, I will say, offensively, CJ just doesn't look as crisp as he did in his rookie year, which is kind of crazy to me. Like even tonight's game,
He
Matt
missed a lot of throws
missed a lot of
and
throws
had bad
in an
interception too.
bad interception in an indoor environment against a Cowboys defense that is not very good at all, right? Like they already couldn't stop the run. So it to me it's like CJ should be hitting these open throws. And they were open throws. That's kind of the most concerning part. Um but that's also like on the flip side why if I was a Texans fan, I wouldn't be that worried because it's not like he's struggling to read defenses. Maybe it's a mechanical thing. Maybe it's a timing thing that can get fixed on a week to week basis. So that's the part for me. It's like I hope he doesn't fix it by the time we play him, but I can see him, kind of figuring things out in the next month or so. So that's where I'm kind of like, but no digs. We'll have Bradley Chubb back, who I think we're looking at a December return. That's going to be a huge addition to our defensive line. Um, so I'm kind of I think that's an ugly one, but I think it's winnable because we'll be in the dome, right? We'll be in the dome. I think we have a chance. And then the Niners, like something is just off about the Niners too, right? Like we're 11 weeks in, and now I can officially say like, okay, what's going on? Yeah, okay, they didn't have Kittle this past week. You're out IU for the rest of the season, but CMC's back. Still got Debo. The defense, you just re-signed Yamdor Lenore for a big deal. Fred Warner's still there. Nick Bosa, I know he gets hurt eventually, but it doesn't sound like he'll be out for the rest of the season or anything. So he'll be back. But you just figure with all this talent that the Niners have, 5-5 is on the not even in the on the verge of missing the playoffs too. It's kind of like what is going on in San
The
Francisco?
NFC West is they're all
It's just a bloodbath
right
right
there.
now.
So they can still win the division, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So don't I'm not counting them out just yet, but I think that that's going to be a game where okay, Miami, almost like last year with Dallas, right? You remember that Christmas Day game in Miami. It's like you want to prove you're a playoff team and beat someone that's actually good. Now's the time to do it. And I think that's going to be the same thing with the Niners. Um, I'm only going to say we have a chance because we're at home. We're at home, and I think Bradley Chubb will be back. I mean, the offenses are basically the same, right? Like Mike McDaniel's gonna know what Kyle Shanahan's gonna do. Shanahan's gonna know what Mike's gonna try to do. Like it's just gonna be who executes better. And I'll give the slight edge to us just because we're at home. But I think the Packers one, realistically, is gonna be tough. At Lambeau, in the cold, on Thanksgiving. Yeah, good luck. But I will say this is the best not the best. This is the most committed I've seen Mike McDaniel to the run. So it gives me a little bit of hope that we have Jalen Wright, we have Devon Achan, we still have Mostert. Hopefully Ingles back by then. Like it might just be one of those ugly 16-13 type of games that I hope the defense is ready for. So I won't rule us out just yet, but it's doable. I think it's doable. So, with that said, um, why don't I'm just gonna run through a couple of the fun NFL matchups from this weekend because there were a bunch. But we got to start with the classic Josh Allen versus Pat Mahomes. Um, was another classic, I would say, you know. But my overall takeaway from this game, Matt, is that there's still something off about Patrick Mahomes. Like this year, I kind of never seen him in this position. I'm not, obviously not going to write him off or anything because I mean, three Super Bowl rings. I I'm not going to say anything, but even from the first, play, like the Mahomes magic is kind of gone. Like he's don't get me wrong, they're still undefeated going into this game, but he had what not he has 9 or 10 interceptions now, I think, through 11 weeks, which is just
He had like
puzzling to
what,
me.
2 or 3
Yeah,
on
two,
Sunday?
I think. Um, one was kind of at the end already,
Yeah,
right?
the
When
last the
you
last
need to make a
gasp.
yeah. But even that first one, right? We how many times do we see him make a ridiculous throw, falling down or sideways, the left hand, crazy arm angle, whatever. But this is another one where maybe we're just spoiled to watching him play, but he's getting tackled and he's throwing the ball. It's almost like you expect him to make that play just because of how good he's been, but he sails it for a pick, ends up being a touchdown. And I'll say, unfortunately, the kind of the erratic Josh Allen came back a little bit too in this one. I thought he had a couple. Did he have two picks or was it just the one?
I think he just had
Um,
one.
well, that one was rough. Like on the fourth down play, I don't know. He's trying to just make a play, flipping the ball out there. But yeah, I mean, another classic though, right? Between these two teams.
It's
But
interesting though. I think it's
yeah,
going to be interesting because I see the same script, Bills and Chiefs. Doesn't it? I don't know if it's just
they
me,
just
but
win in the regular season,
don't the
and
Bills just win in the regular season? Like they always beat them in the regular season, and then their playoff comes. It's like, oh yeah, this is the team that can beat the Chiefs. They can do it, and it never happens. So it's like
yeah,
I'm not gonna jump. Yeah, like I'm not gonna get crazy until, like Josh Allen said, you're probably gonna see this team again sometime down the road. That's your opportunity to really like. That's your statement. If you want to be better than the Chiefs, take them down. Can't just keep winning these regular season games and then flame out in the playoffs against them.
hmm
Like to me, that it's not a rivalry unless they win. They have to win. The Chiefs own them in the playoffs, and that's what counts. So great win by the Bills, by the way. But I think they know it too. Like
yeah.
they have
They've
to
got to
conquer those
know.
demons.
They've
Yep.
got to know, especially Josh Allen, who I thought, I mean, great that he put on the Superman cape to kind of ice the
Mm-hmm.
game. Honestly, I was kind of cheering for the Bills just because I couldn't stand to see Kansas City potentially go undefeated. Like with how they've been playing this year too, and you go to the block kick against Denver, like oh my gosh, it's kind of just been killing me that they were undefeated. So I mean, Miami's not winning the division anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I was just like, hey, Josh, now's the time. But he puts on the Superman cape. He has that big run. That's the kind of run only Josh Allen can have, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar's not doing that. Like he's not breaking those tackles. Even Mahomes isn't doing that. Like that is only Josh Allen at this moment can kind of
Yep.
actually maybe Anthony Richardson. But that's like a marquee Josh Allen type of run to ice the game. And yeah, I thought it was a good, fun, entertaining one. But like you said, Matt, it's all going to come down to the playoffs once
Yep.
again, because I'm sure they'll be there and they'll be ready. Um, the only concerning thing for me, I mean, Josh Allen was their leading rusher. That can't happen if they play again. Like they're going to have to figure out how to get James Cook to be more effective because I like James Cook. Um, but if Josh Allen's going to be your leading rusher, we're in trouble come playoff time. But I'll leave that one at that. Next one I really quickly wanted to go over. I thought was interesting the AFC North battle for first. Ravens at the Steelers. Ugly one again. I don't know. Maybe Mike Tomlin is the only guy that has figured out how to stop Lamar and this offense, but another I think just all the Ravens Steelers games for the rest of our life, at least while John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin are the coaches, are just going to be ugly defensive, battles that are less than 3 points or whatever the case is.
Hey, but
Um,
that's Pittsburgh Steeler football. Grind it
exactly.
out,
And so,
ugly.
yeah. Um, but they do enough, right? They don't score a touchdown, but they kick what, 6 field goals? Classic Chris Boswell masterclass at
And
home. And kind of, I mean,
Justin Tucker.
it's been an underlying thing, yeah, all year, but Justin Tucker has been bad. It's like the fall of the GOAT, which is it's actually kind of crazy. He's 16 of 22 this year. He's kicking at a 72%.
Yikes.
I mean, the only reason he hasn't been cut is because he's Justin Tucker
Yeah.
at this point, right? Um, I mean, they're gonna need that in the playoffs though, because uh, you kind of saw it in this game, right? I'm sure they could have used 6 extra points in this one. So yeah, just another ugly one. But Lamar, 16 of 33. But you know what? Leave it to Lamar to be able to have an ugly, terrible game the whole time. And when it comes down to the last drive, he figures it out, right? Like who else is but Lamar is going to be able to do that against a team that has been getting after you all day and then march your team down all the way, get the touchdown to set up the 2 point conversion. But just the 2 point conversion, I don't know what that play was, but that was disgusting. I just
Like a
gotta say,
quarterback counter.
a quarterback counter, but looked like he maybe had an option to throw, but there was nobody there to catch the ball. I'm just thinking we're gonna have such a good game, and we're gonna end it like that with Lamar not even getting a chance, you know, and we're rolling him out left. I'm just like, what is the play here? I don't know if that was miscommunication.
What about King Henry? He had 13 carries. Like
Yeah,
maybe that's the time to hey put on your cape and get these tough 2 yards.
yeah. Um, I don't know. Not sure what was going on there, but
Wait, did you see the ending of that game though? Because I saw the ending. I saw Justin Fields at the game. I was like, oh, he's in the game. What the heck is going on? I thought Russell Wilson got hurt. Turns out he's just in there to like run the clock
yeah.
out, which I kind of get it. But to
Well, he
slide,
almost
he
he
slid
almost iced it.
early. Yeah, but he slid
Yeah.
before the. I was like, what are you doing?
I mean, yeah, probably could have been executed a little bit better, but it, it was second down. So it wasn't the absolute killer, right? Um, I
I
think,
guess, but it's like you're like half a yard away from icing the game. Like I don't know. Like I don't know if I'm sliding in that situation. And it's like if you think if you lose that, if you get stuffed the next play, you have to punt. And then yeah, you never know with Lamar. You give him 30
yep.
seconds.
No, that's
With
true.
Justin Tucker, he's still Justin Tucker, all right? You gotta acknowledge that. So I don't know. I
Yeah,
just think that was yeah, a
got a
critical
little
mistake
lucky.
that yeah, we won't talk about now after this week.
Yeah, but I did like the play call. I mean, he
Yeah,
probably
great play
should have
call.
picked up the first down. Maybe if he dives instead of slides, but I'd still the one thing I looked at that play, it's like, okay, I'd rather him slide half a yard short and not fumble or not risk fumbling than trying to pick up the first down, you get popped, lose the ball. Right. So that's where I kind of go back and forth, like, okay, I can live with it. Um, but good win for the Steelers. And then shout out to, well, I was gonna get to him later, but Nick Herbig comes back and makes Derrick Henry fumble. So nice little series for him. But getting to this last game, Matt, like as bad as the Cowboys, and the Cowboys have had a bad year, but for the Bengals to have the kind of stats that their offense is putting up, and for them to be
That's
4-7 now,
that's the Cowboys 2020.
absolutely this is you're right. This is the 2020 Cowboys. Joe Burrow is leading the league in passing. I think passing touchdowns. Jamar is like number one in everything. I think he's going for the triple crown. I think he has receptions, yards, and tutties right now.
Touchdowns.
Um, and they're 4-7. Like even watching this game though, neither this was like a classic Chargers game too, where
You thought they're gonna blow it.
I thought they were. I mean, they were gonna blow it, but McPherson decides to miss two field goals. Right? I thought that was huge. That's probably why they end up losing, honestly. Um, because if he hits those two, then all the Bengals have to worry about is not giving up a touchdown. Their defense is going to be played completely differently. Anyway, but it was just one of those games at the end where it's like, okay, I don't want to win. Here, you go win. No, I don't want to win. Here, you go win the game. I'm just watching this back and forth. Like, I couldn't believe it was like within 2 minutes they punted like three times. And I'm just like, guys, what are we doing? And this is like a classic, you know, I don't want to say classic Justin Herbert thing, but over the past 2 years, he's never taken any of that blame. It's all Brandon, our favorite guy, Brandon Staley, or it's been a coaching problem that's why they're losing these games. The defense, right? Like, but that's what we've been saying for the past 2 years. And then this one looked like it was finally like Justin, you had all the help now. He had a couple times to make a play, almost threw a pick, missed McConkey on a third down. And it's like, okay, is this like another Chargers collapse? Unfortunately, though, for the Bengals, their football gods are punishing them a little bit more than the Chargers this year because I don't know. I feel for Joe. I feel for Jamar. Like even Chase Brown, I really like Chase Brown. What he brings to the table, he's a good runner. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. T. Higgins has a monster game again. Andre, our Hawaii boy, like he contributes on a couple big third downs. I'm just like, and you still lose. I,
Defense.
I,
They can't
yeah,
stop.
they
They
can't stop anyone. I
can't
mean,
stop the
I
nosebleed.
think doesn't I think Trey Hendrickson too though leads the league in sacks. So you have the sack leader, the passing yards leader, the receiving leader, and you're 4-7. I don't.
Their past defense is it not the worst in the league, like grade wise? Like I feel
I
like their
think it
past
is.
defense
I
is
think their pass
atrocious.
defense. Yeah,
And
you
I
want
didn't
to
watch a
take
lot
the
of
over.
Bengals games, but it's like I watched that Thursday night game against the Ravens. I was like, oh my goodness, what are you guys like? Busted coverage after busted coverage is like, man, this is like the Cowboys. But
Yeah.
at least those guys are putting up 30 points, so they're still in the game. But yeah, literally reminds me of like 2020, like pre Dak leg injury. Number one
Mm,
scoring offense, worst defense on the planet. Couldn't like you're losing games, 40-32 every day. Like that's just what it feels like right now.
yeah.
But weirdly, I feel like
They are
they're hanging on. They're hanging
still.
on.
They are still in it. I think though it's going to be tough because I mean, looking at their schedule, it's maybe doable, but they still got Pittsburgh twice. And I think that's what's going to end up killing them. Because they have 7 losses now. I don't know if they can afford to lose
Even
even if
one,
they even 1,
9-8.
right? Like we're saying, even if you lose one at 9-8, is that enough with how the rest of the team they need help? So they're probably in it, but they have to only lose one. They play Denver. That's going to probably be the big one because both of those guys are going to be bubble teams, right? But I mean, we're assuming they beat the Cowboys at this point. I would hope,
Another Monday night game.
yeah, I would hope that they beat the Cowboys. But anyway, um, just a, just it felt like the most Charger, like the Bengals out chargered the Chargers. That's kind of what it felt like in that game, and I feel
Hmm.
bad for Joe Burrow. I like Joe. Nah, just
I feel bad for
just
Jamar.
one of those years. I feel bad for
He
Jamar.
never gets the ball in the critical the critical plays.
Yeah. Anyway, Matt, I know we've been on football for kind of a while, but just wanted to get a quick check-in with you since we're, what, like we said, 11 weeks in. Can do a quick peek at the standings on each side and maybe give a surprise team, a good surprise team and kind of a, I guess, bad surprise team at this point. So, I don't know if you have your teams ready to go, but
Are you doing AFC and NFC or just NFL in general, like one big
we can
league?
do just AFC and NFC because I think I have one.
AFC, NFC? Okay.
Yeah, so I have two for each.
All right.
If you want, do you want me to go first? You need time?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
I'll start with the NFC. I'll guess the we do surprise and disappointment, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, my surprise, I think maybe we're gonna agree on this one, but it has to be the Vikings, right? I mean, I think well, they lose JJ McCarthy. Yeah, Sam Darnold, yeah, okay. They might be one of the worst teams in the league, top 5 draft pick. They'll get some picks, stock up with some weapons for JJ, and we'll see what he has next year. Nope. I guess Kevin O'Connell has turned into an offensive genius now, coming from the McVay tree. But who would have thought it would be him to kind of revitalize Sam Darnold's career and the Vikings, man? I mean, 8-2, they're one game back of Detroit. That's still a winnable division for them at this point. So kind of impressive that they're in the hunt for the 1 seed, barring a pretty epic collapse. They should be in the playoffs at least. So I would say they're the surprise from a team that we most of everybody thought was not making the playoffs. So I'll go them for the surprise, and then my is it like too obvious if I say like I mean they are. It's so obvious, but outside of the Cowboys, I guess it has to be the 49ers.
Mm.
Team that has all the hype, this loaded roster on paper and 500. You're just kind of just going through the motions. Like it just doesn't seem like the 49ers. Some teams have that intimidation factor. When the Chiefs are rolling, it's like, "Ooh, okay, this is going to be a tough one. I don't know if we're going to get this one." And I got to admit, maybe because I'm a Cowboys fan, but San Fran, had that the past couple of years with their offense, their physical defense, but just doesn't seem like it this year. And look at Gino, man, putting the night celly on them. Like
Hmm.
nobody's talking smack to the 49ers like that. So just kind of disappointing. But then again, their division is so weak they might win the division still. So
Still, is it weak though, or is all the teams are just kind of good? I think like all the teams are not
I
bad.
don't I don't think I think it's a little bit of both. Like I think Arizona has some flaws. I think Seattle,
I think
I mean,
personally, on paper, I think Seattle is the least.
yeah.
I don't want to say
Like
talented, but
I don't want to say any win is a gimme, but they had a pretty soft schedule to open the season. That
I
kind
mean,
of gave them
Dolphins,
that
no
buffer.
Tua. I'm
I
just
mean,
saying.
Bo Nix, his first start in the NFL, and then didn't they play somebody else kind of, weak? So it's like, that gives you a good buffer at least. So I don't know about Seattle and the Rams, Aaron Donald's not there.
They're always
Stafford
gonna be
just
in games though
yeah,
with
like they're
Stafford,
they're in it with Puka
Cup,
and
and
Cooper
Puka.
Cup, but it just seems like they're all like that's like a very mid division this year for some reason. Like, do I
Yeah.
expect them to go far? Whoever wins this division, right now, I have to say no. I feel like it's a one and done against maybe the Vikings. Packers. It's going to be a tough team that they would face in the wild card. But end of the day, I would say the Niners because they were the heads-on favorites to win the NFC.
Hmm.
Now they're just fighting to get in.
Yeah, I'll say, Matt, I definitely agree with the disappointment with the Niners. I mean, Super Bowl, NFC Championship over the past several years. Yeah, I mean, for them to be the 10th place team in the NFC now, sitting at 5-5, with a majority of their talent, still around, yeah, that's definitely the biggest disappointment for me. 11 weeks into the season, but I was close with Minnesota, but more shocking to me, honestly, is that the Commanders are 7-4. Like,
Mm.
okay, so I like Jaden Daniels, right?
I said he was going to win Rookie of the Year.
You did, and I liked him out of college, right? I don't even know if you remember this, but way back, I think it was our first season, might have been our first season doing this. I said Jaden Daniels was my sleeper Heisman pick when he was still at Arizona State. Okay. Because I remember he beat USC one Saturday night, and I said,
And he
this
beat
kid is a
Oregon too.
true freshman. Oh, no, it was the Oregon game. He beat Oregon. I was like, this kid, true freshman, is going to be a stud. And it just kind of never panned out at Arizona State. So like I said, I've always been a fan of Jaden Daniels. I think he's really talented. But just kind of looking at their surrounding pieces, like, didn't expect Zach Ertz to bring the juice that he's brought. I know Terry's a stud. I've always been high on Terry, but just with how the offense looked last year, like Brian Robinson, yeah, I like him, but how's that offensive line going to be? Are they going to be able to protect him? Okay, Cliff Kingsbury coming into the year, like we know offensively he's good, but that last year in Arizona was a little tough, right? Um, and then Dan Quinn, okay, this is this his second or third stint now as a head coach in the NFL? So it's like, is it really gonna stick in Washington where I mean, okay, at least they're post Dan Snyder, but what is this new era of Washington football gonna look like? I would say I'm more surprised at how well the Commanders have been doing, even more so than the Vikings, just because I liked Kevin O'Connell as a head coach already, but they still have Justin Jefferson. Um, Aaron Jones, I thought was a big piece. I'm a big Aaron Jones guy. And, as much as I don't like him as a head coach, Brian Flores, I think, is a great defensive mastermind. So on paper, like it's not as surprising as how well the Commanders were. Because I thought they were going to be a bottom tier, like at this point, 2 to 3 wins would be pretty good as long as Jaden is kind of developing. So the fact that they're 7-4, just really surprising to me. But yeah, and then on the AFC side, Matt, I don't know who you got there, but I I can go first real quick. For the AFC. So my surprise team, honestly, um, Pittsburgh. I don't know if that's weird to say, but I wasn't expecting, and Russ has only played 4 games, right? So it's not like he's played the whole year and been helping. I was still expecting, as much as I love Mike Tomlin, them to be right around 500, right? Like the classic, you're not gonna have a
Nine and
winning
eight.
season. I thought this year they would have more than 9 wins. I thought they would be a 10-win wild card potential team. But the fact that they're 8-2, um, I mean that surprising to me because I thought Baltimore would definitely be outright in this division, and I thought Cincinnati would be sitting there at second. Um, and I had Pittsburgh. I know we did our rankings. I didn't have Pittsburgh, that high. I think I was kind of between them and Cleveland at the beginning of the year. So for them to be sitting at 8-2, just coming off of a win against Baltimore, they're in contention for the 1 seed. I just didn't see it coming. Love Mike Tomlin. Love what that defense has been doing. Love TJ Watt. They got our boy Nick Herbig. Like the secondary plays really well. They're still the Pittsburgh Steelers. George Pickens, Najee Harris, Fryer, like they got guys, right? Um, but for them to be at 8-2, very surprising to me. Um, and then I will say, man, this one's hard to pick the disappointment because there's so many teams I could pick for this one. But the fact that the Jets are 3-8,
Yeah.
11 weeks in, I like we saw, we had to delay the Rodgers experience in New York, which kind of made it even more like, okay, how good is this team gonna be with Garrett Wilson and that vaunted defense that's been so good carrying Zach Wilson and it was Mike White before and who was it, Tim Boyle for a little bit last year, and they're still competitive in these games. Oh man, now they got future Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers coming in, a healthy Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, you add Lazard. It's like, how good is this team about to be? I was scared. I was definitely scared as a Dolphins fan. And now here we are, 3-8, and it's still like they look bad. Like some drives they can't even move the ball 5 yards. I don't get it. They got Robert Saleh fired. Like I liked Robert Saleh. Um, and I I don't know. I can't really explain it. But the fact that they're not even close to 500, man, it's just shocking to me.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I would probably say that's the disappointment. Like, I don't know how you can't pick them based off of the
I was
expectations.
I was also
And
gonna
it's
pick
they get
Jacksonville.
Devontae.
Yeah,
Devontae
you're right.
comes in. It's like, holy man, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Brees Hall in the backfield. Nah. I don't know. I really don't know what's gonna fix this team. I don't know if that's the end of Aaron Rodgers in New York after this season, but I guess time will tell. But I don't know. I don't see this team making any crazy run to make a playoff push. They're cooked. Anytime you fire a coach mid-season, it's kind of a already telling sign that it's not going to be good. But I guess the surprise team, Pittsburgh is one. How about Denver? Denver Broncos? I mean, I
Mm,
know it's they're 6-5. It's not like they're lighting the scoreboard up, but they were kind of just ever since they had Peyton Manning, it's just been bust after bust after bust after bust. And I'm not saying Bo Nix is going to turn out to be, John Elway or, that kind of legacy quarterback, but he's had the rookie moments as every quarterback does. But you also see why this guy was, you know, a dominant college football player the past couple of years at Oregon. I mean, the experience, the reads, he can do it. And sometimes he gets away from it, sometimes he gets rattled, but there's games, yes, it's not against the greatest competition sometimes, but he did have 4 touchdowns, against what was it, the Falcons. And the Falcons are a
hmm
pretty good team, right? That's a statement win to me. And they're a blocked kick by Kansas City away from beating them on the road. Like, gotta give them credit. Their defense is always gonna keep them in games, but I think with Bo now, he's gonna get better, I think. And hopefully, with this stretch that they have coming up, very winnable games to potentially sneak in as a wild card. So definitely did not see that coming from, especially Bo Nix. I honestly thought, yeah, he's an Oregon guy, but we fed him to the wolves already. Like he's in Denver. He's screwed. But I guess hey, Sean Payton, quarterback guru, right? He has a weird, aggressive way of getting to players sometimes, but he did help Drew Brees, so obviously he knows what he's doing at the end of the day. So I
I
would say
mean,
the Broncos is a
I
surprise.
yeah, I agree with you. But as good as Bo Nix has been, how about that Denver defense, Matt? I
They've always
mean,
been good though.
I know they've been good, but they are looking like arguably the top unit. in the NFL this year. I mean, we know about Pat Surtain, right? But the rest of that team, especially after they lost Justin Simmons, who I really liked, for them to, I think they're rated as like the best, one of the best defenses, in the NFL this year. So yeah, like I said, that is a team that I am scared of. That's going to be standing in Miami's way because if they
Oh,
continue to
Knicks.
play like this, and Bo Nix is going to continue to get better every week, they have a good defense. They're a cold weather team.
The
They're
schedule
going to be
is
an outdoor
favorable for
team,
them right now.
and it's a favorable schedule. I'm a little nervous. I'm going to need some help, I think, from someone down the line. But yeah,
It's okay.
I
They
think
got the
like I
Chargers.
said, they got the Chargers, but they played the Chiefs tough, you know. Probably should have won that game. So yeah, the Broncos, the one I'm nervous
Close
about.
country. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll check back in with the NFL next week, Matt. Um, when we get off this NFL talk, we'll get to some college stuff. We'll start with Oregon, who survived. I think
God.
that might be the end of Dylan's Heisman run, though. But at least they hang on. The main thing is they hang on and win. And I believe they are still the one seed, even though it's been ugly, but they are able to hold on to their
Yeah,
the
for
one seed.
now. Well,
So
tomorrow the CFP
yeah,
rankings
the
come out
poll
on
comes out tomorrow.
Tuesdays.
But I can't imagine anyone's gonna jump them at this point. Like there's only undefeated. Well, I think what Indiana is still undefeated, but Oregon
Well,
has the Ohio State win. That's gonna do a
Indiana
lot
has their
for them.
chance. I will say it's Indiana Ohio State coming
Yeah,
up this week, so
they'll have a
that's
chance.
their biggest game of Indiana football history probably coming up.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
back to Oregon, I was kind of worried. I didn't want to just like look past Wisconsin, but it was more going to Wisconsin. That's like it's a hostile environment. You know, anything can happen in college football when you go to a hostile environment, cold weather. I know Oregon's cold, but Madison, Wisconsin is just a little bit colder, I think. But just kind of disappointed. I mean, the defense I thought was great. Anytime you hold a team to 13 points, regardless of who it is, it's a pretty damn good job. But when you have a Heisman Trophy, quarterback at the helm, you got, I don't know, I want to say an All American running back in Jordan James, weapons on the outside. You have to score more than 16 points in this game. I'm sorry. Got to score more. And that's where it was kind of disappointing because it was Dylan, man. Like, just this was his game, kind of like, hey, this is your time to shine. We need you to make the plays. And it just wasn't there for them. Like, I don't know what it was for Dylan, but looking at his track record in college football, he always has these kind of games. It's just like he looks good. You see some flashes of like, oh yeah, this guy's good. But then there's like one or two games where he just kind of like meltdown. It's like a meltdown. Like just kind of like, what's going on? Where did this come from? You've seen it at Oklahoma, especially. So I was just like, oh no, yeah, he doesn't have it today. And luckily, we avoid, some coaching errors on our end too, because special teams will be the death of Oregon. I think if that's how they're gonna lose in the postseason, it will be because of either the quarterback play or special teams. And most likely, I'm going to take special teams at this rate. Um, you know, going for it on fourth down, chance to go up six. Force Wisconsin to score a touchdown, who hasn't looked good offensively. Like that should give your defense a little bit of a breathing room at least. But kind of a reckless fourth down call. Now they only need a field goal. Luckily, they get a interception. So it wasn't pretty. Luckily, they did clinch a spot in the Big Ten championship. So yeah, even if they lose to UW in a couple weeks, as much as that would sting again to lose to them, the big picture is there. They're theoretically one win away against Ohio State or Indiana, whoever it is, of locking up, a first round bye in the college football playoffs. So everything's in front of them, but it was an ugly win. But sometimes you got to have these kind of games. I will say, if you want to be champs, you can't just blow out every single team. You got to have some ugly wins, some clutch plays, high scoring games that come down to the wire. So maybe this was just the stinker that we had to get out of the way. So let's
I
move
hope
past
so.
it. Good time for a bye week, by the way. So I'll take that, going into UW Thanksgiving weekend. But yeah, it was not pretty. But at least they'll be scouting Indiana, Ohio State. The winner will play Oregon, I think, in the Big Ten championship. So that'll be interesting.
Yep, that'll be a fun one.
I gotta say though, Oregon played bad, but that wasn't the ugliest college football game.
Okay, well, let's just get to it right to it then. Okay, so I know we said Timmy. Honestly, with the last win, probably like that probably saved his job. I would say the one at home, right? Like that one. Okay, we're probably gonna. He's probably gonna be good for the rest of the year, no matter what happens. Was I expecting us to go into 2-7 Utah State and lose by 45 points though? No. Like that,
When we're favored by 2.5.
we were favored by 2.5. Um, and to go out there 55-10. I mean, right out of the gate, it's 24-3 at the half. Um, our defense that had been so good, I guess they froze over in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Braden Shager, who for the most part, honestly, has been taking care of the ball. 3 picks in the first half. Like
And gets hurt.
everything and gets oh, is that what ended up happening? He got hurt? Is that why he came
Mm-hmm.
out?
Yep.
So he finally I mean, he's been running all year, taking licks all year too, by the way. So I guess I don't know. Did they say what kind of injury it was?
I thought it was an ankle injury or
Ankle?
a leg injury. Luckily, they have a bye. Like they have the bye this week, so he can potentially play senior night. But I really don't know what the status of him is. Like, is he gonna? Was that the last down he played at UH? Like,
I hope
there's a
not. You know
chance.
what?
I hope not. Like, he's a senior. I hope
He
he has his
deserves
senior.
he deserves one more moment, I think. Unfortunately, what bowl game is probably out, right?
Yep.
So, because now we only have what one, it's one game left anyway. So
Mm-hmm.
I think he deserves it. I remember the Shager years. I mean, not the Shager, the Schroeder years.
Oh,
And at least even Sean Schroeder had his one last moment at UH. So I think Braden more than deserves to at least play on senior night. And
yeah. Give me Braden Shager over Sean Schroeder. I'll
yeah,
take Shager.
yeah. Um, but just the game, I think just the disappointment was knowing we had a chance to get to a bowl game and we would have been the perfect progression for Timmy, right? Start off first season, okay, we're inheriting a different culture, different team, not all your guys. It's a rough one. We knew that. Going into last year, we just want to see the improvement. Bowl game would have been amazing. But we fall what? I think it was one game short last year too, right? Of making the
I think
bowl game.
so. Yeah.
They end on that crazy run on the
Shipley
field
kick.
kick, the Shipley kick. Um, and it's like, okay, something to build on for next year. And we stink at the first half of the year. admittedly. Um, but pick up a couple big wins. The Fresno State game I thought was the one that's like we're turning a page. Okay, we lose to UNLV, but shoot, that was a close, tough game. That we probably could have won. But hey, we're still moving in the right direction, right? We're playing a top 25 team that, it was a we only lost by two. So we're seeing the progression. And now it's like we have the chance to go get into a bowl game playing against two teams with losing records and we lay an egg. It's like the world.
We
It's
took two
almost like,
steps forward, and then this game we took like 5 steps back.
yeah,
So
and it's just so disheartening, I think. Because honestly, let's be real, like Timmy's gonna come back. He's not gonna lose his job. They can't afford to lose him because after this, now who's gonna coach, right? Um, so they need to keep him. I'm pretty, set that they're gonna keep him around, but uh,
it was
just
just bad, bad
just
offensively, bad defensively. There was one bright spot, literally one. Alejandro was 11 of 12, 111 yards and a
yeah,
touchdown.
but was he playing against starters already? I
I
mean,
don't think so. I don't think so. But that's something, I don't care if it's starters or not. Look at what we had in this game. Shager, 3 picks and a half. Sago Politelli looked terrible with
so
against the same guys that Alejandro was playing against. So it's
that's
like,
fair.
okay, like
My
if you're
question on
playing
that.
if you're playing backups, okay, if you're that dude, I mean, I think should be a little easier for you. So to his credit, he made all the throws.
But is he gonna come back?
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's the problem.
He
He
did
didn't get to
good,
play all year, right? I think
but he's redshirted. He can redshirt.
he can still redshirt. If he can still redshirt, we have a chance.
Yeah, I
Um,
Hunter said he played 3 games this year. So if he plays senior night, that's four. So if you play four or less, you can keep your red shirt eligibility. So I think
okay,
he's okay. And either way, I
but
would hope Shager plays his senior night.
yeah, Shager's gonna play his senior night for sure. But if he can go. But to me, it's like, man, I hope Alejandro sticks around.
He's the only thing that's giving us like some
A
hope.
slimmer of hope, yeah, because like
Yeah,
you said, Sago Politelli
I
did not
I've seen enough. I think
look too good. He's still young, but it was kind of
but
rough. But
but this is the time your starting quarterback got hurt. You're getting blown out. It's not like Utah State's going to be doing anything crazy at that point, right? They don't want to give away, scouting report stuff. They probably got their third stringers in second half, so probably just trying to keep it basic for those guys, to play, and just it just didn't look good. Sorry, like
yeah, we'll do a. I mean, the season. I don't want. It's not over, but we're not gonna make the bowl game, so we know it's gonna end in a couple weeks. But
yeah.
we'll do a season recap a little bit later, man. I just thought, man, what a just like for it. It's almost like the how the Dolphins have let their fans be, or the Cowboys have let their fans be, or these teams where it's like, oh man, you're saying there's a chance, and then it all comes crashing back down to earth, and it's just so frustrating. Um, because I want to see this team do well and be in a bowl game again, and all that fun stuff, but still not quite there. I think hopefully Timmy can kind of figure stuff out with this team for next year, but yeah, it's gonna be another long off season for us. So just praying on some recruits, maybe some transfers. Yeah,
Who
I don't
wants
know.
that Jersey Mike's NIL deal or
Yeah,
Guayaquil water?
the Wyatt. Yeah, Matt. Sticking on UH though, basketball, the Diamond Head. Oh no, not Diamond Head. What is this one? Is it the Maui one? Um,
Rainbow Classic.
Rainbow
They
Classic.
played the
There you
Rainbow Classic. Uh, they won that. They played Weber State. this past Sunday. Won in overtime. It was an ugly game. Some bright spots, Tanner Christensen is our new big man. He looks pretty good. I like him better than Bernardo da Silva. I will say that. He can actually at least make free throws, so it's, you know, a breath of fresh air when your big shoots over 50% from the line. And he dunks. It's like Lob City. He dunks like 3 to 4 times a game, and it's like strong dunks. So it's like I don't remember having a big like that since not even like Yanks. Like I know Yanks was the most skilled, but it's not like he was
Hmm.
dunking it, 4 times a game. But this guy is like he's trying to go down hard. Like that's like okay, I like that. You're gonna get fouled, so be it. You knock down your free throws. So he was an absolute force. Marcus Green has shown flashes, but the thing that's scary is they're playing North Carolina on Friday,
Ooh,
number 10 in the country,
it'll be fun.
and North Carolina has
Oh,
obviously
Matt's
RJ.
going.
Yeah, he's going. He's wearing a Ren Spooner North Carolina shirt. So
Of course.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not sitting by him, but that's what he said. He's gonna wear his Ren Spooner UNC shirt. But North Carolina has RJ Davis back, All American guard. They got two other quality guys. So the UH guards did not look good against Weber State. And it wasn't even Damian Lillard Weber State. Like it was
Yeah.
like sloppy passes, they're getting bullied, with ball pressure. So that's where it's like I'm hoping the guards don't have like 6 turnovers apiece each
Mm.
uh against UNC, but it's that'll be very interesting. Because in some ways I feel like UH does play well at home. That's never been a problem. It's just really they can't play well on the road. Just doesn't click. And it's not their fault. It's the Gannat, AD. Like you guys gotta schedule some road games in the preseason, get them exposure. But I will say this is a good opportunity. You're playing a top 10 team in the nation.
Oh,
So
yeah.
no matter what, it's gonna be a grind and you're gonna have to play near perfect to beat this team to even have a shot. So yeah, it'll be fun. It's on national TV. It's on ESPN too. So the whole world can watch if people even stay up to watch that because that's what 7:30 Hawaii time. So that's like 1:30 on the East Coast in the morning. So I don't know. Maybe all the drunk college kids at North Carolina after their parties are gonna go watch basketball and stream
Probably.
it. Yeah, but hey, UH is 4-0, so I will say I'll wait to hold an assessment till they play some road games and they play
Yeah,
Grand
that's fair.
Canyon and Long Beach. That'll be my test. I'm not expecting them to beat UNC, but I want to see how they play on the road in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good, Matt. Since we brought up basketball, I figured talk a little bit of NBA. Lakers are hot right now. Seem to kind of figure something out with the rotation. I like that we kind of slid D'Lo to the bench. I'm just saying. I think his role there has been a little bit more effective. I mean, AD and LeBron are still playing lights out, but if Dalton Connect can come on and be that almost that potential six man, or fourth option, third option, even when if Austin is having a rough night, like I don't know. I kind of like what I've been seeing out of him. So Lakers, man, it's just something about JJ. I think he's lit a fire under this team. We are currently sitting at 9-4, which is amazing because I mean, I thought we would kind of be around 500 um for the first 15, 20 games or so, kind of figuring out rotations and how we want to play and all this stuff. But to JJ's credits, come in, implemented what he wanted to do, and you know we're rolling right now, which is kind of weird to say, but I think for us to be where we're at this point in the season, shoot, I'll take 9-4 and third place in the West. Like I thought we were going to be a bubble team again, but it is still early. Um, but shoot, I like what this team is doing. Um, NBA Cup's going to be interesting. I think they play again tomorrow, I
Tomorrow,
believe, against who is it?
I see Jazz at
The Jazz.
Lakers.
So that should be a winnable game for sure. Um, but I was talking to someone earlier today, Matt. Just this Lakers team that this year it feels like even if they go down big or they go down, they're still in it. Like they're not out of games anymore. So like last year, like we needed to be playing well throughout 4 quarters or you're gonna lose. But this year it's like, okay, even if you have let like the other team goes on a run, um, we can figure out a way to come back, get stops on one end, and then transition it over to points on the other end. And maybe it's just a breath of fresh air, a breath of fresh air. Sorry, for this team, but
I think
like
it's JJ.
essentially, yeah, because
His attention,
essentially,
he's a very attention to detail
and it's
kind of guy.
essentially the
So,
same roster. Like, right, the starting five to start the year was the same.
mhm.
Bringing back Gabe Vincent or bringing back, Jackson Hayes and Max Christie, um, and all of these guys. We add Dalton Connect, who's been great, but essentially on the same roster, just different outcome. And like you said, JJ is a basketball. He says it right, like he's a psycho or a sicko, whatever. He loves the game of basketball. We saw it on the was it Mind the Game pod with Braun. So we know the intellect has always been there. And I just think that the passion that he plays with and he had or passion that he coaches with, I should say, he's able to relate to all the different levels of players. He's a good communicator. He has a plan. He puts in the work. And I think the players really have bought into what he's been trying to implement so far. Like I said, we're still early. Um, but throughout, what is it, about just around 13 games? Shoot, I like what I've been seeing. So hopefully, we keep it up and translate it into this NBA Cup and go back to back because that'd be sick for them to be able to do. But yeah, man, I don't know. I like it. I like it so far. Okay. Last couple things we want to get to. I guess we have to talk about. Let's talk about the Jake Paul fight. Uh, I'm not gonna stipulate. I don't want to stipulate, Matt, but it just looked. I don't want to say rigged, but it looked like mm, even scripted is kind of tough. But there was just a couple moments in that first round where it seemed like Mike kind of, landed and then just backed off the whole rest of the fight. And I couldn't understand why. I don't even know. I saw the things online where people are supposedly saying that, oh, Mike Tyson would have gotten paid more if the fight lasts, all 8 rounds, or if he knocks out Jake, he's going to get paid less. I don't know if that's true, right? But just watching, like, with my own eyes, after I figured Mike had a chance in the first 2 or 3 rounds, and then by then he'd be gassed out, right?
Yeah.
And so in that first round, though, I was like, he landed a couple nice jabs. I think he landed a nice hook, and they just never followed up after that, which was so confusing to me. Because if you're Mike Tyson and you're really trying to win this fight, it's gonna have to be via knockout. Because if you go 8, like you just don't have. You're 58 years old. You don't have the cardio of a guy in his late 20s
Yeah,
at this point,
27.
27. So it's like obviously, yeah, advantage Jake. So if I was Mike, if I land one solid one, I'm emptying the tank. I'm going for it. But it's almost like he'd hit him hard and then he'd back off. It's like, yeah, okay, this is 58-year-old Mike Tyson, but that's still Mike Tyson, right? You saw all his training videos. I don't know if you saw them
Yeah.
that he's posting on YouTube, and they're vicious combos, like 3, 4, 5 punch combos. And then he gets in the ring with Jake, and it's a jab here and there, or tries to throw straight. and it misses, and I'm just like, something isn't adding up here.
Yeah, even
Um,
that. Well, for me, the ending was like when Jake he did the bow thing. Like, okay, it's sign of respect, but it's like
Still
if you're,
fighting.
it's it's not over. Round's not. It's not like he did it after the bell. Like, why don't you like take a swing? It's
Yeah.
fair game. Like,
Hmm.
the only way. And I'm thinking like he wins the first two rounds. I was like, yeah, I think he won the first two, and then it plays out. It's like, okay, yeah, he's not winning. By the seventh and eighth round, I'm yelling like, Mike, you gotta go, dude. Like, you
Yeah.
can't win.
But I think that's
You
what
have to
everyone's
not.
saying. It's like
You
you're
got to win by
losing
a
on the
knockout.
cards.
You have to go like even if you get knocked out, like you're still gonna lose. I think you're still gonna lose with the judge's decision anyway. So you gotta pick a spot, pick a point of weakness, and attack. And in the last two rounds, there wasn't a that moment for Mike. I was like, like
Yeah, it was
where is
kind of
that?
anticlimactic, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, okay, Jake Paul, blah, blah. No one, I mean, I'm sure some people care about watching Jake Paul. We want to see Mike Tyson fight. Like, that's
yeah,
still killer Mike Tyson. And for him to put on that showing, to me,
yeah.
I'm just gonna say it was a little fishy, all right? Like, it was a little fishy how the fight kind of played out. I don't know. But the
Yeah.
fight before was a banger. I don't know if you caught it.
Oh
The
yeah.
women,
She had
yeah,
the
with the cut.
gash.
Oh man, they were just going bomb.
That was
No,
a
no
fight.
defense. No
Yeah.
defense. Just straight hooks. They were boxing. That was some boxing that I like to see.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man. I don't know. I think that pretty much wraps it up for us. So why don't we get
I think
to
so.
our quick hitters here?
All right. Jerry Jones Award, man. I could easily say him again, but I'm gonna go with my other team, Oregon. How about Dan Lanning? What in the what in your right mind are you calling a fake field goal in field goal range on like a 4th and 5, 4th and 4? Like just no explanation for that. I'm just saying anybody but him, if you do that in the college football playoff and that's how you lose, you're fired right after the game. That is a fireable coaching decision right there. So very lucky that they got away, but yeah, you definitely Jerry Jones award for you this week. Sorry, coach. You're doing great, but you had the moment of weakness on that one. So I should say weakness, just kind of a brain fart that was like typical Cowboys. So shout out Dan Manning. You made the list for the first time.
Okay. Well, my fan tribute, I know I mentioned it earlier, but back-to-back Steelers, I think, because I had Russ last week. But gotta shout out to Nick Herbig, first game back from IR, and he causes, Derrick Henry to fumble. You guys go down and get points off of that. That's potential 10-point swing right there. So wanted to give him a nice little shout out. Because yeah, for him to be playing on that defense, I think is gonna be huge. And then the other one had to pick a Dolphin, but Johnny Smith, I think rightfully so, has been playing lights out as of late. And what a weapon, what a pickup by Chris Greer. I know some people have been critical of him throughout this year, and several years, but I thought that was such a steal for what we were able to get him at, and essentially turned into one of our key options on offense. So, kind of jack of all trades, he can run with it, catch the contested ball, not afraid to block. It's really good stuff there. But okay, Matt.
All right.
And then yeah, why don't you give us our sports fact?
Sports fact of the day will go on November 18th recording. So we'll go to 1997 when the MLB had an expansion draft for two new teams, none other than teams in our respective divisions, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and at the time, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. So,
Mm.
little baseball fact. I also shout out Luis Heel, Rookie of the Year, Paul
Oh
Skeens.
yeah, and schemes.
But yeah, Paul Skeens, that was kind of expected. But hey, shout out
Yeah.
Luis Heel, man. Beat Colton Cowser.
Okay. And I don't know if you saw, but Juan Soto's meeting with the Dodgers tomorrow.
Yeah, you
Just
guys are
wanted to
just trying to
float that out there.
you're just trying to everyone's just trying to jack the price up. Everybody know the strategy.
Yeah. Okay, Matt. Well, yeah, that was a good episode. Thank you guys again for sticking with us. And watching this one. We'll be back again next week. So until then, stay safe. Thank you. Take care, and yeah, we'll see you guys next week.